Okay, this is a review of the in-chapter exercises, starting with exercise 5.1 in the textbook. This is displaying a message. This is on page 63 of the Albright text. And before proceeding, it says try the following exercise. Open a new workbook and save it as input output 1. So here's a new workbook. And let's see, I'm not sure why. Oh, that's from my personal macros. So let me go ahead and insert a module. And there we go. There's our new module of code inside of this Excel file. I'm going to go ahead and save this file as, what did it say? Input output 1. Let me go to my right folder here. Let's see, where do I want to save this? Albright, chapter 5. Input output 1. And I'm going to save it as an Excel macro enabled workbook. .xlsm is the second option in my list. I'll save this file as input output 1. Click on save. And we're saved. Then create a sub called revenue calc. So I'm going to type in sub revenue calc. Open and close parentheses. I hit enter and it's going to capitalize the sub. It's going to input the in sub below. I like to indent and we're ready to go. Okay, the program should do the following. First, ask the user for the unit price of some product and store it in the variable unit price. So it sounds like we're going to have to define a variable. Let's go ahead and define unit price. And I'm going to go ahead and define it as a currency. Hit tab and enter. And then I'll come down to the code where I will type unit price equals input box. And in the input box, we're going to say enter the unit selling price. And we'll just put a title on that called selling price. That's the title of the input box itself. And I think that's number 1. We're asking the user for an input price of some product and store it, defined as currency type. Number 2, ask the user for the number of items sold and store it in the variable quantity sold, defined as integer type. Okay, so we're going to come back up here. We're going to find another variable, and we're going to define that as an integer. And we'll come down here, and we're going to create another input box based on quantity sold. Let's see, let me see if I can type it right. Quantity sold equals input box, open parentheses, quote, enter the number of units sold. And we'll title it units sold. And there's our second input box. Oh, I mistyped that here. Let me make sure I correct that. There we go. Input box. That's number 2. Number 3, calculate the revenue from this product and store it in the variable revenue, defined as currency type. And 4, display a message that says the revenue from this product was $380. Okay, so we have unit price, we have quantity sold. We need to add another variable. We're going to declare that variable as a revenue, and we're going to use a currency type. And we'll come down here and say revenue equals unit price, which is the price above, right? Unit price, the variable we just stored, and quantity sold. That's going to create that value for revenue. And then finally, we're just going to put this in a message box. The revenue from this product was space, quote, and then an ampersand. And then I'm going to format here. I'm going to try to format this revenue with a dollar sign. Now, it's not too important that you understand exactly how that formatting works. It's not terribly relevant. We'll find that more out later. But that's just formatting the value in revenue with a dollar sign. And the formatting means that when it's printed in the message box, when this value of revenue goes to the message box, it's just going to make sure that it fits in this format. And let's see, I got to make sure I get that format right with comma. Great. And then we're going to add a period. And we're just going to use the VB information option. And then we'll give it a title, the message box a title. We'll call it revenue. And that's it. I like to save before I run as a good habit, just in case if sometimes when you get into a cycle or a loop later on in the course, if you get into a loop, sometimes you're in an endless loop and you can't actually go back and save. So I like to get in the habit of saving my code before I run it. And I'm going to click anywhere inside the sub and I'm going to run it. And it asks me for the price. Let's say it's $25. How many sold? Let's say we sold 2,000. Revenue from this product was $50,000. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that calculation is correct. And that's it for exercise 5.1 in the chapter.